This review will be on the Spartan RZHD and why I chose this over the many other mowers offered on the market. This list you're looking at is a comparison of mowers I made with all virtually the same deck sizes of 60 inches and range from $4,000 to $6,500. Most of these came from simply Googling 60-inch zero turn when I was shopping around for this particular deck size. For me, the most important factors in my mower was power, deck size, and durability. However, because I'm not in this industry on a daily basis, I found it quite overwhelming looking for the factors I wanted or needed at the right price. And because $6,000 is no small investment for me, I felt a bit of research was needed. I should also mention that this list is by no means a catch-all list of every brand or model on the market at my price range. It's far off. So if you're looking at this asking why I didn't include a particular model, that's why. I'm only sharing this information that I researched as others as a platform to spring from to assist in what might satisfy their needs in a mower. Your variables of what you want may greatly differ from mine, whether it be pricing, engine, deck size, etc. So it's important you do your own research. This is just me sharing my findings of my own personal preferences. As you can see, I have 11 different models of mowers in this comparison chart. They include Spartan, Cub Cadet, Husqvarna, John Deere, Craftsman, TroyBuilt, Exmark, Ariens, and Gravely. I then broke them down by price, engine, starting system, fuel capacity, transmission, max speed, deck size, deck gauge, deck type, tire size, warranty, standard ROPS, and total machine weight. Each of the specs you see listed here comes from the manufacturer's website or a seller's website if the manufacturer failed to list it. This gave me a basis to do a comparison to help me with my decision. There's quite a few things to consider before I start comparing these mowers, however. First, the colors you see here are in relation to one another. Generally speaking, the darker the green, the better. Yellow's average and red is worse. But it's important to note green doesn't necessarily mean good, and red doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just merely a comparison between the mowers on this list. For example, if you were to purchase this Ariens Icon XL that has a smaller fuel tank and slower speed compared to the others, that may very well meet your needs and it could last you for many years. However, it's only listed in red because it's directly compared to the other models. It's also listed at one of the lower price points, which makes it somewhat an unfair comparison. So if this lower price point is your budget, it certainly could be a perfect mower for your needs. You may also notice I didn't color code the engines for a comparison. While I know that engine brand or type could be a large factor in choosing a mower, it's important to remember many reputable manufacturers offer a variety of different engine brands. So if you see a mower here with a specific motor I've listed, it's very possible the manufacturer offers another brand you may be looking for. Lastly, the deck gauge and warranty are just general references and don't include other pertinent details that may be important to you. For example, while I found some decks have 10 gauge steel, the manufacturer may further specify it has 7 gauge reinforced sides, which I did not document here. And the warranties time frame I listed do not cover additional benefits the manufacturer may offer. For example, some warranties I found may offer 3 years on the general mower, but a separate specified 5-year warranty on the deck. I had to go back and edit this part to clarify that many of the prices you'll see in my Excel spreadsheet are not correct, but they're not off by much. I accidentally documented incorrect mower prices for some of the mowers with the wrong engine. For example, this Ariens Apex, I put $51.99 for a Kohler 7000 V-twin engine. However, that's the price for the Kawasaki model. The Kohler engine is $5,099, not $51.99. I also wanted to add that many of the prices you see on my Excel sheet may be much higher than what's offered at a dealer. For example, I paid $58.99 for the Spartan at a dealer, but their website price is listed at $65.99, as this is their financing price. It's very possible that other dealers may do the same, so when looking at these mower prices, don't take my spreadsheet at face value. You'll certainly see fluctuations in price depending on the motor you choose, your location, and who you buy from. And if you see something you really like, call your local dealer and ask for a price. You may be surprised that they're listed much lower than advertised. All right, with all that out of the way, let's start comparing. The list of mowers you're looking at is listed in order of my top picks first and my least picks last, from left to right respectively. So we'll go in that order, starting with the Spartan RZHD. I paid $58.99 and it came with a Kawasaki FR730V 24 horsepower engine, a keyless control panel, a 5-gallon tank, Parker HTE transmissions, a max speed of 9 miles per hour, a 61-inch 7-gauge stamped deck, 22 by 12 radial rear tires, ROPS standard, and a 3-year warranty. Two specs that immediately set this mower apart from all others were the control panel and the rear drive tires. Hence why I've marked them green and all the others remain colorless. The control panel is a keyless system that's capable of a customizable security code for starting the engine, displaying fault codes, a tachometer, engine timer, mow timer, engine oil timer, voltmeter, as well as a few other features I'll get into later in this video. That might be a negative for you, but for me it was a positive, thus I've marked it green. Going back up to the fuel capacity, it has an average sized tank amongst all the other mowers at 5 gallons, which was plenty for me. And the Parker HTE transmission is the strongest transmission on this list when I compared the specs from each of the transmission manufacturer's website, which I'll cover in more detail later in the video. And finally, it's the only mower on this list to offer the thickest deck, which consists of 7-gauge steel all around. Judging from paper alone, this seemed to be a no-brainer, but let's cover the other competitors to be fair. If I had to choose from any other mower on this list, there's no doubt my second choice would be the Ariens Apex. For $51.99, one of the lower price points, Ariens is certainly giving you plenty for your money. The specific model comes with a Kohler 7000 V-twin 25 horsepower engine, a 5-gallon fuel tank, a very strong Hydrogear ZT3100 transmission, a thick 10-gauge deck, large front and rear tires, and a long 4-year warranty. On top of all this, you'd be buying from a brand that specializes in mowers and not from your typical run-of-the-mill big box store. Right behind that would be the GravelyZTHD. The paper specs on this model are virtually the exact same, minus the price being $200 more. However, this specific model I selected comes with a Kawasaki FR730V 24 horsepower engine, which explains the increase in price. To be fair, I'm fairly certain this same motor is also offered by Ariens Apex model as an option. It also comes with a 5-gallon fuel tank, Hydrogear ZT3100s, a max speed of 8 miles per hour, a 10-gauge deck, and a 4-year warranty. Behind them, my next two choices would be a toss-up between the Cadet ZTX4 and the Husqvarna MZ61. At $55.99 and $53.99 respectively, these two mowers also seem to be good deals for what you're paying. With the Cadet, you're getting a slightly larger fuel tank at 5.5 gallons, the same strong Hydrogear ZT3100, a 10-gauge deck, and a 4-year warranty. And with the Husqvarna MZ261, it offers a 5-gallon tank, the same ZT3100 transmissions, with a slightly thinner deck at 11 gauge, but the same 4-year warranty. The next would be the Toro Titan. This model comes with Toro's V-twin 708cc 24.5 horsepower engine, a 5-gallon fuel tank, Hydrogear ZT2800s, the weakest transmissions of all previous mowers mentioned, an 8.5 mile per hour cutting speed, a 10-gauge deck, and a 3-year warranty. Assuming this would be the exact price I paid for this mower, I was underwhelmed at Toro's decision to use the weaker Hydrogear ZT2800s and not opt for the stronger ZT3100s found on all the other mowers within the same price range. And ending with the last three and the least appealing, we have the Ariens Icon XL, the Craftsman Pro Series, and the TroyBuilt Mustang. I should reiterate, red does not mean bad. It's merely just a comparison to the other mowers on the specific and limited list I've made. That said, while the Ariens Icon XL has a very appealing $4,399 price tag, it also has a smaller 2.8-gallon fuel tank, Hydrogear ZT2800s, a max speed of 7 miles per hour, an 11-gauge deck, and slightly smaller rear drive tires and a 1 year less on the warranty. While this specific model may easily fit your needs and standards and what you're looking for in a mower, it's a very good price. It also serves as a great example of why you want to lay out as many options as you can on the table to help make your decision. As if you haven't already noticed, if you could afford just $800 more, that would bump you all the way back over to my second favorite mower on this list, the Ariens Apex. In my opinion, despite these mowers not even being in the same ballpark when it comes to pure specs, them only being separated by $800 really surprised me, and something I would personally be willing to spend the extra money on to get the best bang for your buck. Next to last would be the Craftsman Pro Series. Honestly, not too bad of a mower for the price tag. It comes with a decent 3-gallon fuel tank, decent ZT2800 transmissions, also found on the Toro Titan and the Ariens Icon XL, an 8 mile per hour max speed as seen on the Ariens Apex, the Gravely, Cadet, and Husqvarna, and decent wheel sizes at this price point. However, I was unable to find a specified deck gauge and the warranty information seemed to be lacking. This certainly doesn't mean there's no warranty on the mower, it's just that the only warranty information I could easily find was an optional warranty package that you had to pay for separately. And last but not least, and in my opinion, just a really bad option would be the TroyBuilt Mustang. There's almost nothing good I can say about this mower when compared to the others other than it has a 60-inch deck. Everything else is just not a good deal for the money. At $4,299, you're getting a Briggs & Stratton 25 horsepower motor, a 2.8 gallon fuel tank, Hydrogear ZTX5400, which is the weakest transmission of all mowers on this list, a 7 mile per hour cutting speed, a thin 12 gauge deck, the smallest front and rear tires, and a 3-year warranty. Now, to be fair, this is listed on the cheaper end of my $4,000 to $6,500 price point, so it's not entirely fair to compare this mower to the others I have listed here. But at this price point, again assuming that's the price I would pay, I would no doubt rather go for the Ariens Icon XL, research other mower brands in that lower price point to see what they had to offer, or just take the hit and shell out just $900 more and go with the Ariens Apex, which upgrades virtually every square inch into a prosumer model. And just for reference, I pulled in 3 random commercial grade mowers, which include the John Deere Z915E, the Ariens Zenith, and the Gravely ProTurn 260. These 3 are only compared amongst themselves, and I only pulled them in to help me gauge price points and see what you might find in a commercial grade mower. Before we move on to comparing each of these transmissions, I feel the need to emphasize yet again that my very basic paper specs does not tell the whole story. There are many, many other factors that you may want to consider when you're trying to decide between mower brands or models. This could include, but it wouldn't be limited to, the ease of maintenance, deck operation and adjustments, spindle build quality, comfort options, attachment availability, headlight options, dealer locations or support, ease of part acquisition, safety features and or design, looks, etc. I could go on and on. Moving into the transmission comparisons, I've documented each transmission specs from the manufacturer's website, and these are my findings. The worst performer on this list, as expected from the mower specs, is the TroyBuilt Mustang, which is utilizing the weakest transmission of all, the Hydrogear ZT2200s. Compared to the other transmissions contained within the other mowers, it has the lowest motor displacement, the least max gross vehicle weight limit, the lowest max vehicle speed, the lowest output torque, and one of the lowest RPM speeds. Now, this certainly does not mean that the Hydrogear ZT2200s are bad transmissions, but when compared to the other transmissions used in all the other mowers, I personally don't think you're getting a good deal for what you're paying. Next up would be the Hydrogear ZT2800s. It has a decent motor displacement of 16 cc's, 1,000 pound max gross weight, 8 mile per hour max speed, 300 pounds of torque, and an RPM max speed of 3,000. This is found on the Toro Titan, the Craftsman Pro Series, and the Ariens Icon XL. The most common transmission found in all the mowers on my list were the Hydrogear ZT3100s. It has a motor displacement of 16 cc's, 1,200 pound max gross weight, 9 mile per hour max speed, a beefy 350 pounds of torque, and a max RPM of 3,600. It's found on the Ariens Apex, the Ariens Zenith, the Husqvarna MZ61, the Cub Cadet ZTX4, the Exmark Radius S Series, and the Gravely ZTHD. But most impressive of all is the Parker HTE transmission found on the Spartan RZHD model. It beats out all the others with a motor displacement of 17.9 cc's, 1,300 pounds max weight, 18 mile per hour max vehicle speed, and an impressive 431 pounds of torque and a max RPM speed of 3,600. I did list the commercial transmission here just for a reference, which is the Hydrogear ZT5400s, found on the Gravely ProTurn 260. Because you're in commercial territory, it obviously demolishes all the other transmission here, at least in raw specs. So going back to the reason I made my decision to go with the Spartan RZHD, it should be clear why I chose them over the other models now. For $5,900, I'm getting the deck size I want, a commercial grade 7-gauge steel deck, a light-duty commercial grade transmission, rear radial tires, a high vehicle speed, a large 61-inch deck, and a fully integrated keyless control panel that none others offer. So far, my only complaints on paper would be the lower 3-year warranty Spartan offers when compared to other similar models at this price point. Despite offering much more than their competitors, that is, even giving the much more expensive commercial grade mowers a run for their money, their warranty is only 3 years compared to all other manufacturers who's offering 4 years, again at this price point. But again, paper doesn't always tell the whole story, so I'll try to review what paper can't. Starting off, and the least important would admittedly be the looks. While this is debatable and subjective, I believe Spartan has nailed the look of what a zero turn should look like. It looks powerful, sleek, and aggressive. With its wide design and dark color contrasted by the neon orange logos and Spartan helmet, along with its equal amounts of smooth and sharp edges, it resembles that of a M1A1 Abrams tank rolling around your yard. This in itself is a design achievement in my book. However, most importantly, and as you already know, it has the specs to back up its looks. But getting back to the more important stuff, let's start with the tires. The front tires are standard of what you would find on most zero turns, but the rear tires are a different story. These 22 by 12 tires are radial. And for those that may be unfamiliar with what radial tires are, to put it simply, they utilize an internal threaded build that is 90 degrees to the direction of travel, unlike what you would find on most other common tires. They became very common on vehicles in the 70s, like the ones found on this 1970 Continental Mark III, and are generally known for their durability, comfort, and fuel savings. One underappreciated design factor, in my opinion, is this relatively small 10-inch rim, only 4 inches larger than the front rim. This design appears to be on purpose to utilize the radial tires to their full potential, as radial tires are known for their flexibility and comfort. By having the smaller rim, it provides more room for the rear wheels to flex, which acts as its own suspension system. Radial tires also allow you to run them at a lower PSI for additional comfort or traction. Spartan had these tires specifically designed for their mowers. This is both a plus and con in my book. The plus is for the obvious pros to this tire I've already mentioned. However, this may make them harder to find, especially at your local hardware stores. That said, I did manage to find them online, and it looks like they run about $145 a tire. Spartan made nearly everything on this mower easily accessible, and the engine is no exception. They designed the engine housing with the most space I've seen when compared to the other competitors. That allows you to do easy maintenance without having to take off panels, coverings, plastics, or other aesthetics. This allows you to easily conduct your oil changes, fuel filter changes, air filter changes, and spark plugs. Starting with the oil, they added a long flexible tube with a toolless cap to drain your oil easily into an oil pan. Then when you're removing the filter, they've cut a nice large area below the filter so you don't have to worry about messy spills to clean up after you've removed the filter. It's small details like this that makes your life much easier that is surprisingly not found on some other models, such as this Husqvarna's MZ61. The same can be said regarding your workspace for easy maintenance. When compared to my second choice, the Ariens Apex, it has a very tight rear body design that encloses the engine, leading to potential scenarios of being forced to take off panels for basic maintenance. I mean, just look at this difference. And here's the GravelyZTHD. Again, this is not to say that these are bad mowers. In fact, both of these I'm sure are very great mowers. But it's the attention to details like this and a design that really tells me a manufacturer is putting in thought and effort in their design. To change the air filter, you simply pop this rear cover, and there's even a toolless wing nut that makes it easy to remove and install this filter. Lastly, you have very easy access to the fuel filter and the spark plug. Moving to the deck, Spartan designed a standard toolless deck covers with soft rubber knobs to make it easy to clean your deck. While they advertise these deck covers to be a blow-through design with these pass-through openings, I still find it more effective to just remove them to blow the grass clippings away, as the soft knobs make it easy enough. But if you're in a rush, this blow-through design does give you the option of keeping them on. Just for a comparison, while I do think the design of the Ariens Apex and the GravelyHD are better with the 90-degree walls ensuring that the air from a blower will pass through most effectively, which makes it less of a compartment and more of a roof housing, note that both do not offer soft knobs as standard for ease of removability. In the time it takes you to find the correct socket to remove these covers, you could have removed both of the deck covers on the Spartan. And to further expose the deck, it has a toolless floor panel you simply pick up and remove. Once the deck covers and floor panel are removed, you're left with a fully exposed deck, making it easy to clean, maintain, and replace belts. While we're looking at the deck, all of their models come standard with this push-pull rod and spring system that keeps tension on the belt at all times. It serves two purposes. The first is when the PTO is engaged, it reduces the stress induced on the belt and pulleys by absorbing the high amounts of energy introduced. This is on top of their soft start system that starts the blades gradually. In addition, this push-pull design will absorb sudden and abrupt blade stops when you accidentally hit something like that of a small stump, large rocks, or limbs. I was also impressed at the very large spindles they included on this mower. The only two mowers that come with spindles of comparable sizes appear to be the Ariens Apex and the GravelyZTHD. You can see how much larger these spindles are when compared to something like the Husqvarna MZ61, albeit they are more expensive. Another feature found on this deck that many brands don't offer at this price point is this foot-assisted deck. To adjust the deck, you simply push down the right pedal and select the height you would like from 1 to over 5 inches for transporting. It should also be noted that each of the anti-scalping wheels come with grease fittings. The seat on this mower is, in my opinion, far ahead of all the other competitors at this price point. Not only is the seat itself very comfortable, but the design tackles suspension in two ways. The first, you may notice the seat is attached to a plate. Between the seat and the plate, you'll find 3 rubber grommets that allows for flexibility while sitting in it. Then the seat and the plate are sitting on these 2 much larger rubber rings that acts as additional suspension on bumpy terrain. These 2 factors, along with the additional flexibility on the rear radial tires, makes for a very comfortable and smooth ride. This less expensive way of tackling suspension without adding in an expensive suspension seat or an expensive integrated suspension system on the body of the mower is pretty ingenious. It's about as close as you'll get to feeling like you have an integrated suspension system, yet it's all done by rubber grommets and radial tires. It also has a lever allowing for adjustment forward and back. And if you need to access the transmissions or battery, you simply push down on the lever bar in the back of the seat and pull the seat upwards to expose the battery and the Parker HTE transmissions. Also appreciate that they designed the lift mechanics of the seat to not overextend as many other models do. Instead, when lifting the seat, it comes to a stop at a 90-degree angle to the mower. The control panel was perhaps one of my favorite features on the mower. According to the manual, you can set any code you'd like, ranging from 1 to 12 digits long, and it offers so much more than a typical key start with a basic hour counter. This keypad tracks engine hours, mow hours, has a job timer, a clock, tachometer, voltmeter, an hour timer for your engine oil change reminder, and in addition, if there's any errors or faults with your mower, it could throw any one of 35 error codes that are defined in the manual on Spartan's website and in the hard copy manual that you'll receive. This can take a lot of troubleshooting burden off the user instead of these codes being something only given to the dealers. A very smart decision by Spartan by making this information available to their users. The control panel also comes pre-wired for any additions you'd like to add to it, such as lights or an electronic deck, and these 2 plugs can be found underneath the seat. Pretty cool. Lastly, when starting the engine, instead of trying to figure out why your engine won't start or what safety protections are out of place, the control panel will display this information without the wondering. For example, if your parking brake is not set, your control levers are out of neutral, and the PTO switch is in the on position, it will display a red light above the respective safety protection. Once you've resolved these issues, then all red lights are extinguished and the mower will allow you to start it. Now, if you think this is too complicated for a mower, as I initially did, keep in mind this also serves as a very easy troubleshooting guide to help you find out why your mower won't start if any of the sensors become faulty. This is one of the reasons this control panel was a pro for me, as most mowers already have all of these safety protections installed on the mower. But if any one of the sensors on other mowers becomes faulty and your mower won't turn over when you're trying to start it, then you might be scrambling to try to find out why your engine won't cycle on ignition. Yet if the Spartan mower won't start and it claims I'm not sitting in the seat even though I am, then I immediately know I have a faulty seat sensor. To reset your key code, first input the correct key combination into the control panel. You don't have to be on the mower to do this. Then hold down buttons 1 and 2 until a display reads change code. Then enter the new 1 to 12-digit code you'd like and pull up on the PTO switch. You'll then see the display read enter code again. Then re-enter your code. Then press down on the PTO switch and the display will then show saved code, signifying you've successfully changed the code on your mower. I found this especially useful as if you ever wanted to let someone borrow your mower, even if you don't expect to be with them, you could change the code temporarily in advance for them to pick up their mower without you having to hand over physical keys. Then upon its return, you could reset the code back to your preferred combination. As with any changes or resets in the control panel, you must first ensure the control panel is unlocked with the correct key code. Once done, you can set the clock, reset the job timer, or reset the oil change timer. The motor and mode timer are the only non-resettable timers within the control panel. To set the clock, unlock the control panel with your code, and then press the hourglass button until you get to the time of day. Then press and hold the hourglass button until you see set appear on the display. Use the number 1 to go down and the number 4 to go up. Holding these buttons down will change the time more rapidly. Once done, press the hourglass button once more. To reset your job timer, press the hourglass symbol until you get to the job timer, and press and hold the hourglass button for 6 seconds and 6 zeros will flash on the screen. Now the job timer will be reset to 0.0, and the next time you start the mower, it will begin to record its use. To reset the oil change alert, press the wrench button and toggle over to the oil change timer. Press and hold the wrench button and the oil timer will reset. However, I won't do this here as I want to keep track of my next schedule change. The last few things to mention about this control panel is this nice addition of this 12-volt plug for charging your phone, plugging in a portable air compressor, or for any other accessories. Although I would like to see Spartan add in a compartment in the future on this specific residential model, as of its current design, charging your phone with this 12-volt plug is not the most convenient, as there's nowhere to place your phone unless it's on your body. While compartments are offered on their higher-end models, and I certainly don't see this as a deal breaker, I just don't see this as being something that's too difficult to add without affecting the price. To close this video, I want to end with a few things to note. I first want to reiterate the purpose of this comparison and review is not to bash other brands out there. It was merely my wants of what I wanted in a mower and along with a comparison between other brands to see who was offering the most for my money. I realize that many other brands may offer similar features in various areas that I've covered, but I often found that they did not come standard or they required you to opt for an upgrade to their next model. That said, it's important I point out all footage I've shown of my Spartan has 4 additional options that do cost extra, hence why I didn't discuss them in the video or compare them to the competitors. They are this Spartan shield for opening and closing the chute, the operator assist bar, these wrist supports, and the tow hitch attachment. Minus the attachments, I've found that Spartan was giving me arguably a commercial grade mower at a residential price. And due to them being a 4-year-old mower company, it was the only reason I did some extra digging to see if they really were giving me a good deal for my money. And to my surprise, they were. I then decided since I put so much time and effort into looking around at this price point, I'd share it with others. I'd recommend if you were looking for a mower, make an Excel sheet like I did and remove or add any features that are important to you. Once done, you'll find the mower that suits your needs best. I've done this many times before, but this is my first time doing this on a mower. It's quick and it took much longer to edit this video together than to create my worksheet. While I have very limited hours on this mower and it's not even close enough to make a long-term review on it, I will either pin a comment of any issues I run into or make another video if any major issues come up. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching.